George Steinbrenner moved north to New York Yankees, he tried to play ball with an amazing team right here in Cleveland. Bill Livingston tells the tale of opposing personalities, highly sought-after players, a chance at the big leagues, and capturing a national championship in the book, George Steinbrenner's Pipe Dream, the ABL champion Cleveland Pipers. Now, in addition to being an author, Bill is also a sports columnist for the Plain Dealer. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So it sounds like in this probably situation, which in the book, there's a lot more action going on off the courts than on the courts.
Well, George was the same person he was with the Yankees, overbearing, temperamental, hard to work for. He just didn't have access to the money, the shipbuilding money on the Great Lakes that his father controlled. So he really had to bob and weave and bluster and flim-flam his way. When he bought the team, it was dead broke. And they, you know, he had an inherent conflict with the coach, John McClendon, who was the first black coach of an integrated professional team since World War II, who was not a big name. George wanted big names. He had signed Larry Siegfried from Ohio State, and eventually he would sign Jerry Lucas, who was the Larry Bird of his era.
But the coach was real kind of quiet, nice,
well,
you know, completely different than George.
He was a black man in Nashville, Tennessee in the 1950s at Tennessee State, so he was not a confrontational person. And George perceived that as lack of commitment and lack of caring, when actually it was his coping mechanism.
And John said, though, that he wasn't a racist.
No, John's great quote was, I've been asked many times, if George Steinbrenner was a racist. He was not. He treated us all the same, black and white, like dogs. He was not anti-black, he was anti-human.
Oh, jeez. And despite all of this, this team, the Cleveland Pipers, they were one-season wonders. They won this big national championship.
Well, they brought Dick Barnett in from the Syracuse Nats, who had played for McClendon in college. And Barnett was a member of the 1970 Knicks team, a very good player, probably the best player in the league. It was the first league with a three-point shot. They had several players from Tennessee State that knew Coach McClendon's system. And Connie Hawkins was in the league. Basketball fans will know him. You know, the first LeBron James, really. He was the MVP.
I even recognize that name.
Yeah, at 19. And they did win the championship after they were almost expelled for not paying their debts, after they lost a first-round playoff series in which Steinbrenner withheld paychecks. He was so furious. He really probably didn't have the money also. The players threatened to revolt and boycott a game. You know, when I got further and further into it, I said, this is just great material. You know, it really
you can't
is.
Make it up.
8 years before the Cavaliers and a championship team.
Wow.
You know, and when they signed Lucas, they also were going to merge with the runner-up team in the league, and they were extended an invitation to the NBA. They could have gone into the NBA, except they couldn't meet their indemnity payments to the Cincinnati Royals, and George just didn't have the money. You know.
But then eventually the ABL folded. It
folded pretty much after, it was pretty much doomed after the Pipers folded. It lasted until New Year's Eve of the next season, which was 1962-63 season. They didn't get into 63. And they just declared the team that was in first place champions. And actually it was the Kansas City Steers, and they got permission from the University of Texas to get a ring that was sort of like the Longhorn logo. It cost $35. Oh have you seen Super Bowl rings these days?
Yeah, a little bit different.
Even NBA rings?
Yeah, it's a little different. So we shouldn't forget the Pipers, huh?
No, the reason I did the book, I think it's a forgotten era in basketball and in Cleveland history. And since only the Browns have won a championship, and that was 52 years ago now, let's not forget the Pipers. Let's remember the Pipers.
Absolutely. And we've just skimmed the surface of the fascinating tale of the Cleveland Pipers that Bill Livingston has written about in George Steinbrenner's Pipe Dream. To read the whole story, get the book by using the information that's coming up next. My thanks to Bill for a winning interview.
Thank you very much.
George Steinbrenner's Pipe Dream is available at local bookstores or by calling Kent State University Press at 800-247-6553 and learn more by visiting www.kentstateuniversitypress.com.